Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to take a look at the Spirit Toys Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, also known as Awok Blight figure. Now, once again, I picked this figure up at PowerCon. I promise, guys, this is the end of the PowerCon videos and the weekly pickups of the gargoyles. They came out the same week. The week after PowerCon. So they've all been trickled in. It's been hectic for me. It's been crazy. I haven't done anything. I haven't worked on either one of my shows for the upcoming week, but I don't believe I have too much coming in this week, if anything. Maybe some Joes, but we'll see. I still haven't got a shipping confirmation yet. So anyway, here we go. This is Blight. I really like this figure, just the color scheme of him. I've talked about the Animal Warriors of the Kingdom before. I picked up 3 of them. They're very solid figures, at least all the ones that I have. I will say this again. I feel like if you gave this to a 5-year-old, he would not come to you in 5 minutes saying, "Hey, Daddy, I broke it." I feel like this is a figure that would be played with for quite some time. And again, I like this color scheme. So we're going to take a look at it. We're also going to talk about maybe some complaints that I might have, and you'll understand when we get to that point. So anyway, here's the figure. Here's the packaging. Here's the cross-sell of this wave. Gives a little bio of him. Then you have this picture. Now, he looks like a child in the artwork, and that face definitely does not. So anyway, let's take a look at this. But before we do, if you like the content that I've been giving you, take a second. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop an Animal Warriors of the Kingdom video and or any other type of video. So let's take a look. All right, he is out. And as you can see, I have Pale here, and there's a specific reason why I have Pale, and we'll talk about it in a minute. So quickly, let's take a look at the weapons that he does come with. Now, I did mention if you gave these to a 5-year-old, I don't believe they would be coming back to you in 5 minutes saying that it's broken. What I would say is if you give this to a 5-year-old, you definitely need to sandpaper down this, because their weapons are extremely sharp to the point where if I stabbed you, I could easily break your skin. And that's not joking. I'm honest, you could break them. The same way with like the early Valaverse weapons, some of the Mythic Legion stuff. Definitely the NECA stuff, which is always hard to do that stuff. But quickly taking a look at it, you can use either side as a weapon. It does have a little hole here. I'm not really sure what that's for. Maybe someone can fill me in. Now, we've already seen these weapons, but I have to say I love the color scheme. So you have 3 different paint apps here. Wow, you may have 2 paint apps and then the color of the actual weapon. I'm not sure if it's 3 paints or what, but so you have this greenish here, then you have this like greenish blue here, but then it fades into this color. The three of the sword weapons do it, and I just think it looks really sharp. So you have 2 of these shorter blades, I guess are more like knives, that he's going to be able to use. Then he has this sword, which does the same thing. Now, this only has 2 different colors, but again, as you can see, it fades into it, and the detail on it is extremely nice. I like the fact that it's bright and shiny. Again, you look at the detail of this one, and I showed this before, there's damage on them. So when you look at these weapons, a lot of them will actually show some sort of damage. The sword doesn't really seem to have too much. There's a mark, I think, right there. So when you look deep at them, there is some nice damage to it. Now, what I did find out from the last one is that there is a port there. So you can also use it as a staff. So when I said that this one only has 2 paint apps, when you plug it together, you're actually going to end up having 3 different paint jobs. That sounds so wrong. Again, very hard to get in. But when you start looking at the detail of this, hopefully I can get it. Look at that. So it has wonderful detail in it. Now, it's going to be the same as the other ones. But again, you're looking at it and you're saying, hey, you know what? This thing has been through a couple battles. They've used it. That's what I really do like. And again, I like the shininess of it. So, If you want to use it as a sword, you want to use it as a staff or a spear, it's up to you. It is your head canon. Now, I know there is canon on this. I don't know. I don't read the comics. But, again, for me, these can be fit in with a lot of different lines. He does come with 6 hands, so 3 pairs of hands. You get your fist hands, and then you get your open hands, and then you get your claw hands. I do wish they'd have a trigger hand, because there are some weapons that are big enough that you can use it for a trigger. Now, I guess you kind of mold this into a trigger finger if you really wanted to. But looking at it here, it has some nice detail to it. No, well, yeah, you know what? I take that back. It looks like the fur is maybe painted, but since this is a dark plastic, this is black, it's hard to see. And that's how they're all going to be. Again, looks really nice. So now let's take a look at the figure. And again, this is right out of the box. And let's quickly go over his articulation. So this has this pauldron up here, so that actually kind of prevents it from getting a higher T-pose, but that's just because of this. They can be removed if need be. Double pinned joints, but they're painted so well that it's hard to tell. Again, this is right out of the box, and all the Awoks that I've had so far have been nice and smooth. I don't feel like anything's going to break. Doesn't get a big Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's kind of disappointing, but I can understand that. He does have a pliable, I don't know what it's called. Waist piece. Double pinned joints again. They're so close, almost flushed, the exact same color. It's hard to tell. They don't really bother me. He does have a thigh cut right up there. And then he has the ankle rockers that move back and forth. But every single joint seems extremely smooth. They're tight, but not tight where they feel like they're going to break. He does have the ab crunch, and he can shift back and forth, up and down. All right, and then his neck, he can move up and down to a point. He does have some big sideburns, his mohawk, that prevents him from doing some stuff. So now we're gonna pop off his hands, and I mentioned before, like, these hands are extremely easy to pull out, which is what I really liked about it. And when you use them, when you do change them out, they pop in nice and easy, no problem. I never feel like I'm gonna break them. They're tight enough that they're not just gonna fall out, let's say like a Mezco or even a Mythic Legion, but they're not super tight where I feel like they're gonna stab, like an early Valivers and even some of the G.I. Joe. So there you go with that. Now let's take a look at him here, and looking at his face, those eyes look so menacing. The paint looks extremely nice. His sideburns are painted black. Again, it's kind of hard to see because he's a gray. And then he has this blue mohawk, which I think is sharp. I love the color scheme on this. And then the fact that everything is different. So he has this purple, his purple bandolier that goes across. And the paint looks extremely, again, very nice. It's very pliable, so it can move, be taken off. It does have these pouches on it. And when you go through, you look at all the fur. And again, there's the pin. When I'm pointing it out like that, it's hard, it's very easy to see. But when you're sitting here, you don't really notice it. Then he has his shin guards. Again, 2 different paint apps on it. It's got some nice little dots on it. Now, it's the same one that Pale's using. And then he has these big feet. And again, it does have pegs. But his feet are so big that you should be able to pretty much stand him without a problem. I can get this guy and all of them on 1 foot pretty easily. As I say that, and of course, I'm not able to. So I'm able to get him on 1 foot fairly easily. All right. You don't really need to worry too much. And before anyone says anything, the the table does have waviness to it, so there's been times I've tried posing figures and they don't want to stand. But either way, he has two big feet, and he's going to stand up pretty nicely. So his waist section here, again, the paint looks really nice. There's two different shades. The purple is nice because it is shiny, and it's not a bright purple. It's this kind of dark purple, and it fits in with his scheme so good. And then you have his blue, or the mohawk seems blue. The pieces here seem more teal. But again, it works really nicely. And then he has this shoulder pauldron of what looks like, it looks like a lion / monkey. Again, there's probably something in the lore. But again, the design on it looks extremely nice. Everything looks really nice. So let's grab Pale. And what you're going to see is this is close to being a repaint. So the chest piece here, the chest is the same. This arm is the same. Legs are the same. Your shin guards are the same. Your bandolier is the same. The waist pieces are different, but it is the same waist piece. I do believe that's used in maybe in other ways. I'm looking at the other figure that I have. I know one figure uses that. And then the other figure, actually the other figure that I use is different. So this might be a new one, I'm not sure. Now his arm here is definitely different, where it clearly is some sort of robotic mechanism, and I have a feeling that's going to be in the lore. So when you look at this here, you can definitely tell that it's different, along with the hand. You know what? Oof. Okay, so this is what you get when... All right, so I'm looking at it. All right, so yeah. All right, so the difference between him... Okay, so he doesn't have... So Pale has one gauntlet. He only has one gauntlet, and he has some sort of robotic hand, along with a robotic arm. And this is actually what got me to buy him. I really wanted him. I kept looking. I kept going back at Pale and him and going, I already have Pale. But the robotics running through it, it pops. Now, I'm not sure what the lore is. I'm sure someone can probably explain exactly what it is, but I'm looking at the figure and how this figure is, how it works with other figure lines, different things like that. Again, if you've seen pictures, I have them fighting G.I. Joes, and they look really nice. Or gargoyles. So, the one complaint that I do have is I understand repaints as part of the game, especially when you're a small line, when you're first getting up and you're first trying to grow. But the one issue that I do have is when they reuse the same face sculpt. So at Valivers, I have hounded that how for 2 years we have had just repaint after repaint, and it's $3.50. But the face sculpts are always different, other than the bulk. I'm not going to try and say it. The masked version that come with almost every figure. That's the same one, but again, that is a masked figure. G.I. Joe, Hasbro, they reuse a lot of the bodies. They have multiple bucks, but they're constantly being reused, but the heads are always different between characters. He clearly has the exact same head. He's got the same mohawk. Now, the way the eyes look, he looks a little more menacing. He looks more evil and mean than Pale, but it's still the same head. And to me, that's one thing that I just kind of have an issue with. And again, that goes back to the fact that you have these different characters. Well, now I have two characters that have the exact same face. Now, they're different colors, so it kind of draws away from it. But when you have a giant mohawk, and when the mohawk goes the same way, if it was straight, maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the fact that the mohawk parts to one side, and then he also has the exact same length of, my God, having a complete brain fart. Sideburns, it's hard not to see that it's the same. And I love this figure. I love the color of him. I was happy to see him at PowerCon. And I honestly sat there holding him, going back and forth, and holding these two up together so I could say, like, okay, do I really want to buy the same figure again? The arm was enough to make me change and to say, all right, you know what? They look a little bit different, but the fact that the face sculpts are the same is kind of bothersome to me. So, but that is a minor complaint for how wonderful I do think that these figures are. And again, realizing that he has a mechanical arm, it's kind of like, I guess he's kind of like the scrap iron of the bad guys when it comes to animals of the warrior kingdom. So, I did say this, sometimes getting their weapons into their hand is kind of difficult, just because they really hold their shape and they're hard to pry because they're really thick, but you're able to do it. It's not like you're not going to be able to get them in there. So I'm going to pop this arm off again, or this hand off, and we're going to throw this on. Again, I'm really impressed. You know, the hand doesn't really look like it's mechanical, but clearly everything else is. So again, I'm sure there's something in the story that explains it. And when I'm looking at this, yeah, I don't see anything that makes this look mechanical, but the whole arm is. So if you are a big Awok fan, if you read the comic, hey, you know what? In the comments, tell me what I'm missing. Tell me what it is that I missing with the lore, why he's the way he is. Again, I'm probably not going to go ahead and read the comics. There are a couple guys that definitely do live streams and streams in general talking about the lore. And again, nice figure. I'm here to review the figure, tell you what I like and what I don't like about it. So, as you can see, easy to get him into some fighting positions, get his weapons on him. You know what? He does have butterfly joints. I'm going to apologize. I've never pointed that out, that they do have butterfly joints. And if you want to put them with a pistol or just holding their swords together, these guys are going to have no problem holding the swords together, because the butterfly joints, which are integrated extremely nice, make it so their hands can cross over like you were holding a pistol or you're holding a sword together. I wish some other brands could do the exact same thing without us seeing it. So there you go. That is Blight. All right, so my final thoughts on Blight is he's a wonderful figure. He looks amazing. Again, minor complaint that the face sculpt is the same that's on Pale. Again, the colors and the eye color make it look different enough, but the problem is the big sideburns and the mohawk going off to one side. It's hard to not notice that it's the exact same head sculpt, but I'm not going to complain. I knew that before I bought it, and clearly I still thought it was worth buying. Like the other three that I own, this figure feels awesome. You can give it to a 5-year-old, and I don't believe that it's going to come back broken in 5 minutes. Unlike a Valaverse, a Classified, and definitely a NECA. I just don't see those surviving with kids playing, especially a 5-year-old that doesn't really care. He wants to bang things around. But in the end, I just think that these things are just very nice figures. But again, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. I don't get anything for free. Everything comes out of my pocket. So when I give you a review, you know it's what my honest opinion is, even if it might not be your opinion. So let's wrap it. Alright, so that's my review of Blight. Again, a wonderful looking figure. Perfect colors. Just the way the purple works with the black and even the little bit of teal. It just looks really good. I'm very impressed with this. So anyway, I'm not going to waste any more of your time. We've gone over the figure. You know what it is. Anyway, before we leave, if you're on social media, if you're on Facebook, join the group Punks with Toys, because once you join, you're a Punk with Toys. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, a Punk with Toys. That's where I am most active for sure. And last but not least, take a second. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop an Awok video or any other toy related video. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here, but don't go anywhere. You stayed this long. Take a second and look up here and watch this Awok review. And right here is going to be the playlist of all the other Awok figures. Take care now.